The Wednesday Week is sponsored by Michael Constantine Wealth Management. We bet you can't find a financial advisor closer to Hillsboro Stadium.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to another episode of the Wednesday Week. My name's Dan Fudge, and with me tonight I've got Simon, John, Blair, and Stevie. And, we're going to try and remain upbeat after Sheffield Wednesday ran out 2-0 losers at home to our local rivals, Barnsley. Not a pretty affair, and I would even dare to say soundly beaten. Simon, is that something you'd agree with?
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny because it's the first time I've been on the podcast this season. I was a little bit downhearted until I went to Bolton away, and from that I thought we're going to do really well this season. We put the Dispatch, then played really well. Dispatched Forest Green, played really well. Bit of a blip in the Pizza Cup, but that was a completely different side. And he went back with the same side. Couldn't fault more in regards to picking that side. It was the side that was always would pick itself. But I think to a man, I can't think of one person who stood out on that day in Wednesday colours. Mm-hmm. We sat afterwards and tried to pick a man of the match out of us, and unfortunately, everybody had a bad game, and that was completely out of. There's nothing. Well, I know we'll talk about our manager in a bit, but there was nothing that our manager could do at that particular time. But speaking to Barnsley fans, they're saying that's the best they've played this season. The best they've played this season.
They did soundly beat us, didn't they? Like it wasn't a fluke. It wasn't, all right, somebody could argue that the first goal was a bit of a fluke, but that second goal was a hell of a header, wasn't it? Like,
first touch as well.
It was absolutely insane. Now, John, do you reckon that there was an element of complacency after the Forest Green game that's crept in over the last couple of seasons since we've been in League One, where we've sat there and we've gone, this league's easy, and then we start out well, we go great guns, and then all of a sudden it all sets in. I mean, do you reckon we could have just, that could have been the thought process for the Barnsley game?
I think there could have been that. There was elements of the Forest Green game which I wanted to see rectified for Barnsley. Mainly, the passing was very slack against Forest Green, but we're allowed to get away with it because of the quality of the opposition. Now, coming into the Barnsley game, as Simon said, the team did more or less pick itself. But what Barnsley did really well from the first whistle was they pressed us. The high press was killing us, and we couldn't get out of his own half. We kept constantly giving the ball away, some suicidal passing at the back, not least from Stockdale. And you've got to say, it probably should have been worse than 2-0. It should have been maybe 3 or 4-0. They just had a game plan. I've seen it happen before when we get the high press because of the nature of how Moore wants us to play out from the back. At times we were passing to a man who got a man all over his back. So as soon as he was going to even try and receive the ball, they were getting a foot come round the corner to challenge him. We'd instantly lose possession. Marvin Johnson was a perfect example of that. He didn't have a good game at all. Was constantly under pressure and seemed to give the ball away. He probably should have been pulled at half time, to be honest, but he managed to make it to the second half. And unfortunately, you could say it was an off day or whatever, but it was a really poor performance by Wednesday, and Barnsley were fully deserving of the 3 points.
It's painful to say, isn't it, when it comes to a local derby such as that. Now, Blair, to put it in your words, because I know that obviously sometimes you lose your mind when you're talking about Sheffield Wednesday. that was just shit, weren't it?
Oh yeah, it was proper wank.
Eloquent. Thanks a lot. Join us Wednesday week. You know what I mean?
The annoying thing about Wednesday is, I'm not. We will bounce back. The squad's too good. The opposition we play in this league isn't good enough. We will bounce back. We will win more games. We'll probably win on Saturday, and we'll forget about it all. However, for the integrity of the podcast, we'll review this single game as its own thing. And it was really bad. And under Moore, when we do lose, we lose spectacularly. We never lose unlucky. You know what I mean? Oh, their keeper made brilliant saves. We did everything to try the hardest, and we just lost by an odd goal. When we lose under Moore, when we lose, this team.
Just watching Stevie, sorry, Blair. Just watching Stevie's about to explode, and there's a reason I've left it until last.
Capitulates, and it's really frustrating. We've lost 2 games at Hillsboro in 2022, and it's getting to Rotherham and Barnsley, and it's just really annoying. Like,
but I know what you mean. I know what you mean about the losing thing. I mean, I don't know if any of you guys watched Arsenal versus Manchester United at the weekend. Arsenal absolutely battered them, and nobody seems to have mentioned it.
No.
Nobody seems to have gone, well, Man U played shit and won. I mean, Barnsley beat us, didn't they, Blair?
Yeah, they did. The Gregory had a great chance, I think, at 0-0. Puts that away.
Yes.
It's a different game, isn't it? But they outfought us, they outran us, they outworked us, and it's just annoying. It's more than anything. Do you know what I mean? Like, how have they come to us? A Barnsley fan texted me who I play football with on a Monday and said, if you don't win by 2 goals, you've had a bad day.
Wow.
We lost by 2 goals.
So I assume
we've had a bad day.
We've had a minus bad day. Go on, Sam.
I wouldn't agree with the fact we capitulated. I think they worked harder than us. I think it was a perfect storm of 11 poor performances. And I can't put my finger on it. I don't think it was the tactics. I don't think it was. There was a couple of decisions on substitutions I didn't agree with our manager, but they played a game, and you know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of Lincoln away last season, where we were flying, and we did have the best midfield in the league with Bannon, Byers, Luongo, and they just nullified us.
Yeah, we rued that game. That game at the end, it cost us automatic promotion. And
unfortunately, in this situation, and when we lost against Rotherham last season, they're our neighbours. They consider it as a derby. They're just a town near to us, as far as I'm concerned. Rotherham.
It's weird that you and I are from, well, you live and I'm from a suburb of Rotherham. You know what I mean?
I live in the borough. I pay my council tax to Rotherham, although my postcode is Sheffield. Anyway,
yeah. I used to swim for Rotherham Metros. Like, you know what I mean? I get how close it is.
But with the Rotherham game, we did everything but score. Again, they took 2 chances and put them away, and we had no strikers on that particular time. But we just sat there and a bit dumbfounded because it was the strongest team on paper for Wednesday, and people just had a bad game. They had a bad game, and Barnsley, not taking away from them, played really well and nullified us.
I've actually written that, arguably our best 11, but I think we'll come back round to that. Now, normally, Steve, I'll give you an intro, but go on.
I've sat and listened, and I'm glad we've left it a few days because I've had to come off Twitter for a couple of days because I got absolutely rinsed for some of my opinions that we'll obviously speak about later on. I think in the cold light of day, I think you've got to try and find the middle ground between absolute catastrophizing about Saturday and just accepting that, as Simon has said, and I think the general consensus tonight is that we weren't good enough. It was just poor performances all around. I don't think we were necessarily as bad as people think we were, and I'm going to say that controversially. I think it's the nature of the fact that we've lost 2-0. We're on a run.
Local derby.
It's a local derby. We're playing Barnsley.
And we're at home.
Yeah, all of those things. You know, Simon spoke about a perfect storm of 11 poor performances. I think there was some bang average performances and there was some shit. I think
name Stevie. Don't sit on the fence. Don't get splinters on your ass. Come on,
listen, we don't need to. I was, you know, you could get into it and we can talk about the substitutes and so forth. The Stockdale one, you can pull apart a little bit. The Stockdale scenario situation, it does my head in. I talked about it last week with Ben. I think Stockdale's been a revelation for us.
Yeah,
I think we've got to accept at the moment that with Darren Moore, we are going to play a certain style of football, and people will be up in arms around whether or not it's good or it's bad. And John mentioned earlier the fact that we were playing the ball into to people that have people in close proximity to them and so forth. Yeah, but we've been doing that all season. We have. I think there's a bigger issue that we need to discuss, and that's more around the fact that when people are pressing us high, we didn't have that quality necessarily, and then that lends itself to that discussion around having a plan B and whether or not we've got a plan B. I think we had a plan B and a C on Saturday. They weren't necessarily good enough, but I don't think that's necessarily Darren Moore's fault. I think that's more to do with the fact that we had that many players that were off it. It weren't happening, and you know, I saw something yesterday. As I said, I've not really been on Twitter because I've been busy with other things, but I think John Newsom replied to Alex Miller and talked about the fact that we were pumping the ball up to Smith, and Alex Miller contested that that was a plan B. And John Newsom had come out and said it's only a plan B if you've got something. At the moment, we're lumping the ball forward to Smith, and there's nobody in and around him. The midfield were too deep. He wasn't advanced enough, and that caused issues because we were just pumping the ball forward. Smith's flicking it on, and it's going nowhere. You know. For me, we didn't make that sort of switch. Ironically, I had a guy sat next to me. Change it! You've got to go long! You've got to go long! And the moment we start pumping it forward, he's going, where's the midfield? Why aren't we playing it through midfield? And literally everything that we did, it got to a point on Saturday where people were that frustrated, it didn't matter what we did. It didn't matter how we played. It didn't matter what was going to happen. People were just falling out with it. People were just losing the shit because we weren't winning 4-5-0. We aren't going to win every week 4-5-0. We weren't good enough. But if you look at the stats on Saturday, we had the lion's share of possession. We had, give or take, equal amount of shots, although they had more on target. We bossed them for corners. We did have plenty of the ball. We just didn't know what to do. We just didn't turn up. I just don't think we turned up. I thought, to people's points, we didn't pass the ball properly. We didn't pass it well. Johnson had an absolute shocker, but I've got feelings on the way that he was treated by certain members of the crowd on Saturday. I felt really sorry for him when he was brought off, to be fair, because at the end of the day, he's a player of Sheffield Wednesday, and this time 6 months ago, he was Neymar, and we thought he was absolutely fantastic. So, you know, I had a season last year of calling Wednesday fans fickle. And it just, Saturday was the epitome of fickle football fans, and it just did my head in. Nobody's mentioned Lee Gregory's misses. And I'll tell you something, nobody at 0-0 he misses when he falls over. At 1-0 down, he scuffs it, and the keeper just puts his arm down and catches it. I'm telling you now, at 1-0 down, Lee Gregory scores that goal, we win that game on Saturday. And the problem with that is, all of a sudden, we've got these naysayers that have come out on social media over the weekend and gone, more this, more that. He's the reason that we came down, which is another argument within itself. But from my point of view, if the players had turned up on Saturday and we'd won the game, we wouldn't be having this massive outcry on social media. And the bottom line is we'd be 1 point off top with a 2-3 point cushion to fourth place.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what, let's come back to the more thing after we've done the game, because I think that's interesting, because no one was saying more out when we were smashing Forest Green all over the park. You know what I mean? So, John, I'm gonna speak to you about the selection. Like Stevie mentioned there, play it through midfield and then play it long and all the rest of it. Now, in the middle of the park, we had Byers, Backinson, and Bannon. You know, and surely that lends itself to Barry Bannon playing an advanced role, which is something we've all cried for on this show specifically. Him pushing forward and not dropping too deep and getting in between the defenders and all the rest of it. Something he seems to have stopped off since about February this year. Is that something we saw? Or, where did Windass play with those two? Was it like kind of a 3-4-2-1 with Windass and Bannon playing advanced behind Gregory? I mean, how did you feel that it went?
Well, I think it was the BBC website had it down as a 3-4-1-2, and they had sort of Barry Bannon in the hole, playing in the hole, according to the stats and stuff. And Stevie mentioned earlier about this. You look at the stats; they did look pretty even, but obviously, as a spectacle, the game was very one-sided in terms of quality in that game. I think what the trouble was, as play was so pedestrian at times that we were so finding it so difficult just to even get over the halfway line at times. It was bizarre, really. I mean, they pressed so well, we just found it really difficult to have any tempo in his play and to utilise Bannon in his preferred position to be getting up there and supplying through balls to the likes of to Gregory. And also, there was very little runners as well when we were on the ball in that game. Very little players when we actually had a good spell of possession. Very few of our players were making runs forward, which were driving me crazy. Really, I couldn't understand why, when you got the ball and you 1-0 down, we just didn't have enough willingness to try and stretch Barnsley. And invariably, it ended up being bypassing midfield, didn't it? As the game wore on, it was more just lumping balls, as we said earlier, to the likes of Smith and just trying to get knockdowns for other players to come running in on.
But taking Bannon out the game, do you reckon that could have been their game plan? Press them hard and make sure Bannon don't get near it.
Yeah, I think it's quite a well thought out game plan, and it's been done to us before. I think there's a consensus: if you stop Bannon, you stop Sheffield Wednesday. But that's
right,
you could,
and our fans slag him off every opportunity they get.
Yeah, and that's another thing. And all, I've never ever booed a Sheffield Wednesday player in my life, and we've had some shockers. We've had ones that have pulled fan base down. Jay Bothroyd.
I booed him.
I've never booed a Wednesday player in my life. I've never booed a team performance. Even I just don't boo the team. I'll go and have a pint with you guys or whatever, and all expletives will come out, but I'll not direct
expletives will come out. Blair just brings them to the show. You know what I mean?
So, I think it's just on that. Sorry, Dan. I think it's contextual, though, isn't it? Just to that point, we talk about whether or not we need to get behind the team, and we do. And there's nobody more frustrated than me if we lose a game, we go on a poor run. We talk loads about the Shrewsbury-Lincoln games that have cost us last season. I hurt as much as anybody else on Saturday when we'd lost 2-0, and you're sitting there and you're looking at Leppings Lane. You've got the away fans that are absolutely having a whale of a time, taking the absolute piss. The bottom line is, give it some context and think about where we are and where we've been. And I know that's going to open myself up to people talking about the fact that we've come down from the Championship, and these conversations to be had around whether or not more should have kept us up. These conversations around management and so forth. We've been in some shite fucking situations over the last few years. And in the grand scheme of things, I'll put it out now, even though we're going to talk about it later, we had to take a step backwards to keep our club sustainable and take it forwards again. Because at the moment, or the moment that we'd stayed up in the Championship, chance here he's got away with him. And I don't think we'd have kicked on and had the infrastructure behind the scenes that we've got at the moment. The challenge that you have to sort of weigh up with that is the fact that you've then got to reproduce that on the field and get us out. There's no way on God's green earth at the moment that we should be booing Sheffield Wednesday players, because we are where we are, because of the situation that we're in, because of mismanagement previously. And that's just the nature of the beast.
Yeah. I think if we'd have stayed up that last day against Derby, I think the following season would have gone down anyway. Yeah. I think it'd have been unsustainable.
Without point deduction, with a flash sale of players,
would have gone down with a whimper.
Yeah, we recruited players for League One by saying, look, we're going to have a go at this league. We're going to try and get up. Glory days. Wind has stayed to get us out of the league. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? Other players have done the same. I think the recruitment that we've done, we talk about it week in, week out, was absolutely boss. It was absolutely bang on. Let's just give it a little bit of sort of context around what we've done. That being said, I do question, and I think I put in the chat earlier on about me being a bit of a more sympathiser. I think he made some bizarre decisions on Saturday.
A more sympathiser.
The substitutions.
There were just in general, just within the game, substitutions. I didn't get the McGuinness one. I thought that was strange.
No, that was baffling.
Unless he was injured, I'd like to know what he's done wrong, or what Moore was seeing that made it worse to keep Johnson on and put James on at centre half than left wing back. I thought that was strange. The other one, what was the other one? He did something.
Backinson for Mighton and Johnson for Smith.
He did Windass for Wilkes as well, and then it was a Johnson for Smith one. Why take? There were 6 minutes. I looked at it earlier on. There were 6 minutes between taking off McGuinness and Johnson, and he put on James at left centre half, and he put on Smith for a left wing back. And I get that led to a formation change, which is another conversation. It just didn't make sense to me. I didn't get it. I thought McGuinness was fair. I didn't agree with some of the ratings that were in there. Ihikwe struggled, given the amount of pressure that we were under, but I thought he put himself about. Iorfa, I didn't think offended me necessarily. Everybody was shit, apparently. I didn't think Iorfa were that bad. I didn't think he did too much wrong.
Sometimes, though, you don't look at Iorfa and think of him as the type of player that will be able to play the ball out from the back under pressure. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, you're absolutely right, Dan.
And it might be horses for courses and square pegs and square holes and all the other formations.
Just one more thing that I didn't understand on Moore on Saturday, and as I said, I get the guy, and I have no issue with him. You listen to his press conference afterwards, and the first thing he said was, "Well, they came and they were difficult to break down." And I thought, right, And then he's gone, they played 5 centre halves, and I thought, okay. And then he's gone, once they've got that goal, we've put 4, we've sat behind the ball. And I thought to myself, our issues on Saturday were more around the fact that we couldn't play out from the back.
Yeah.
If we can't play out from the back, we can't play out from the back because all of a sudden they're pushing on and they're closing us down. And I know we're talking over a picture of 90 minutes. They pressed high. They played high. If you're going to play high, if you play it against it in the right way, we're going to be able to get into spaces. We're going to be able to break them down. We're going to be able to play through them. I think that's Darren Moore's headache. If we come and we've got pedestrian sides like, I don't know, Forest Green weren't pedestrian, they were shit, but a mid-table, bang average side that are going to allow us to come and play football, no problem at all. If we play against somebody like Charlton, who I thought set up well, like Portsmouth at times did okay, but I think that was first game of the season. Barnsley on Saturday didn't allow us to play. They pressed us. We've got a problem when teams press against us.
That's where players have got to come into their own, of which they didn't do on Saturday, because
if they're good enough.
Yeah, they're good enough. You're absolutely right. But your Byers and the Bannons weren't falling into space like they normally do. Bannon wasn't playing so advanced. He wasn't coming for the ball, which when he did, I mean, I think the 3 chances that Gregory had, at least 2 of those were from Bannon. At least 2 of those were over the top from Bannon.
Mm-hmm.
We were trying to play it at the back because they were so advanced on us. And every time we hoofed it up, their centre-backs just lapped it up every time, didn't they? Just lap the ball.
Definition of madness, isn't it?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? When you see
again.
I love Byers to bits. I think he's a great player and he's brilliant at finding space and drifting away from whoever's marking him. He didn't do that on Saturday. So immediately that's one midfielder gone. The next one is you've got Bannon playing so up the front. That's another midfielder gone. So Backinson did as well as he could, but they just nullified that. But when he changed, did he go to a 4-4-2?
I'm trying to work it out actually with the subs. I've literally sat looking at it. And my apologies, listeners, if you've got some background noise there. There is a storm. Well, the sea is trying to get into my window right now. And to coin Tom Hardy, it is fucking biblical. Like, I have never seen anything like it. It's going to start strobing in this camera. So those with epileptic issues, I would go to listen to this as opposed to watch it on YouTube. Where was that?
He did shift
the formation.
He did go to a 4. He went Palmer. Get it right. It seemed to me that he went Palmer, Iorfa, Ihikwe, and then he put James out on the left. But it was later on in the game than it needed to be.
Yeah, and he already 2-0 down by then.
He put the 2 subs out. Just on the 2-0, if you watch before, just on Byers, am I right in thinking that it was the goal on the highlight reel? The goal came from the corner where Stockdale made the save, and then Byers dived in front of the ball. You go back and watch how they celebrated that block, because they thought that's a game-changing block.
Yeah.
We did this, we make the change, we're going on.
They hit the post, didn't they, just before?
Yeah.
Back
but
in. Yeah.
They take the corner. If you watch, the laddo comes on. I forget his name. Number 9 comes on. Not one person picked him up.
No.
It wasn't. Yeah, James Ward. He wasn't picked up. He didn't run off a marker. He just wasn't picked up. That's another fundamental issue that we had on Saturday, is that nobody in our coaching staff have gone, we've made a change here, somebody needs to be picking up. He almost looked like it was zonal, and then we've got Smith picking up the 6 dog. But beyond that, there was no sort of structure. He's just had a free run at it. You can't allow that. You can't.
I thought it was poor, and I think Lee Gregory missed some absolute sitters. But what could be written off as a bad day at the office was, I think, outweighed by Barnsley's coming with a game plan and sticking to it. And as it stands, we lost 2-0 at home to our local derbies, leaving us 4th behind Plymouth, Portsmouth and Ipswich. Plymouth sitting on 15, our opponents at the weekend, with Pompey and the Tractor Boys at the top on 17. Now, Blair, that was quite difficult to talk about because obviously it was quite a difficult game. So I'm going to give you the reins to try and change the tone just a little bit. And I want you to tell me what you've got planned, because you were dead excited about it earlier on.
Yeah, it's just a game of categories.
Categories.
Yeah, so we'll go around the group.
You're not going to share a screen, are you?
No.
Shit.
I
haven't had a good screen share in ages.
Then you'll know the answers.
All right.
So we'll do Fudge first, then we'll go to John. Not John, Simon, John, Stevie.
Okay.
That's the order I've got. I don't know if it's still on yours.
No worries.
And we're going round. If you can do it, it's shirt sponsors what Sheffield Wednesday's had.
Okay. So do I name one and then we name one later on?
And then we go around and try and eliminate each other. I ain't got a tiebreaker or nothing like that. So if you get them all, well done. We're all sad, but we'll go. So there's not as many as you thought. You thought there would be. So you go, Fudge.
Whoa. Dan's writing them down.
Hey?
You can write them down.
Can I not make notes? All right. I'm gonna take the easy one to start with. Okay.
I see those fingers.
Yeah, I really want to see those fingers moving. Right, I'm gonna go with Sanderson to start with.
Yeah, of course.
Chupa Chups.
Yeah, that was the one after.
What was that?
Mr. Tom.
Mr. Tom, yeah. No one said this season's.
You've just sputtered all of it. Finn looks.
Oh yeah, go on.
Is it me?
Yeah.
Crosby Kitchens.
Oh. Don't go with the hard ones now.
Oh, I've got harder, mate. Don't worry about that.
Asda.
Yeah.
VW Gilders.
Volkswagen. Yeah, all right.
Gilders underneath.
Yeah.
Right. Chancery.
Yeah, of course.
Good one. Shit.
Forever.
Absolutely.
We had it for 7 years.
Absolutely threw me there. Was it 7 years? Jesus, what?
Well, this is the seventh.
Honda.
Yeah.
You've done VT Plastics, haven't you?
No.
No.
VT.
Rat bastard.
Sorry.
That was the first one we ever had, apparently.
Was it?
81 to 91 for 10 years.
Wow.
MHX.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Straight in there. That was the third one we had.
Oh, shit.
All right, I'll go. Host stay.
Yeah.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Barter card.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Nice one.
Good shirt, that.
Plus net.
Oh,
Yeah.
shit. That's a great one.
One Disco.
I'm struggling now.
oh God.
Have we done them all, Blair? Is there any left?
There is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 7 left. One's a bit
God.
dubious and 2 are a bit strange because it's like the make of the shirt sponsored the away shirt.
Oh yeah, Theodora.
Yeah, Deodora. I like that navy blue one. It was good.
Right.
Hmm.
The season we had VW,
Oh, you sod.
the away kit was a different sponsor.
It
It
was.
was.
And it was...
Don't go for it, Fudge.
I know what it is.
Is it West something?
Was it?
Is it Westfield or West?
Yeah.
Yeah, Westfield.
You sod.
Right, there is
Ah,
5 left.
we
There's
done
5
Sheffield?
left.
We done Sheffield Installations.
That was on the list I had.
Sheffield Installation.
It's insulation.
Installations, yeah.
We haven't done that. Oh, right. Sound.
That was
I'm
on the
not
list.
sure
That was the list on the list I had.
I'm
Let
not
me
sure
just,
mine.
let me just fact check it.
Right.
If it's not on the list, you can't have it.
Steward's Inquiry.
It was on. We were sponsored by them.
If it's not on the list, you can't have it.
Was it official? Was it an official
If
shirt?
it's not on the
Was it-
list, you can't have it. Simon's out.
I'm struggling to find it in Google Images.
Shut up.
Simon's out. He's
Oh,
gone. Look at him.
oh,
Oh,
showing his age.
You can have,
I
you can
don't
have a so I can have another
Give it
go.
a second guess. All right.
No, you can't.
All right.
Simon's
I just
gone.
I want to have a
Mate.
look. Yeah.
No, you can have a look.
Move on.
Send anyone on the
Move on.
outside.
Move
He's
on.
out,
Who's
he's
next?
out.
Oh,
Right,
John,
me.
Get him out.
Steward's Inquiry
Sponsor,
afterwards.
but I'll go for it anyway. Sheffield Children's Hospital.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Nah. That was the one I had.
There's 4 left. 1 I'm not sure about, but we'll let you two. You lot decide.
Underscore plus net.
Oh, come on, Steve.
You'll
kick yourself.
Have we got any elevator music? There's one on the tip of my tongue. Oh, David Ford.
Not on my list.
Not on the list. Are you ready? I'm going to piss you all off.
Yeah.
Who's still in? Is John still in? Or is it just
Yeah,
me?
it's you and John now. It's you and John,
John.
Eliminator.
Napoleon's Casino.
Yes.
Oh, God.
That beige shirt, I loved it. That like beige
Got
and blue.
promoted in it.
Right, there's 3 left.
There's still 3.
There's
Jeez.
3.
Simon's still looking.
No, that's done my head in. I could have sworn we were sponsored by them.
Like,
But I've
if
got
you-
another one. I've got another one.
got it,
now,
got it.
anyway.
Go on,
Azerbaijan.
Yes, yes.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh,
Yeah.
you prick.
Right.
Hang on. So what have I got left? What have I got left, Blair? How many?
Well, there's 2 left. I gave you a massive clue earlier, and only Stevie capitalised on it.
Right.
Massive
Sorry.
clue.
What was a massive clue?
I'm not saying it again. I'm not saying.
You said that one was dubious.
Yeah.
Thought that would have been mine. 'Cause didn't get no money for it, did we?
Okay. The dubious one is that I'm pretty sure, and I said it earlier on when I said Finlux, one was TV and video, and one was just Finlux or Finlux TV.
No, it's not that.
That's suck a dick then.
Right then, to win it, John. To win it, otherwise you all lose it.
And there's 2 left.
There's 2 left because we've gone round. So it went back to Fudge, and it's got back to you.
Stevie thought he'd got one. But
Stevie's got it, mate.
Has he?
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Oh, jeez. God damn it. Oh. I can't think of anymore. I really can't.
Are you out? Are you out?
Go on.
Don't think we had it. Intersport?
No.
No.
So the ones I've got left is in 2017. We had, well, not 2017. It was only had the IKEA kit and we had Elevate on it.
Oh, tits.
Oh, Elevate.
Tits.
So nobody got that because nobody ever saw it.
Pigs, tits.
The one I wasn't sure about, I've seen a shirt with it on though, is in 1991 we had Milk.
Milk?
Nah, bollocks.
What, he had rush drinks?
Chef Wed milk kit. Where the bloody hell? What?
It was like
milk.
Well,
what? Just the word milk? Or
it's like
that
milk
was
in a can or something.
What?
Milk. Brilliant, in it.
There is no. I'm going to need. Right, listen. If anybody's listening, I'm going to need a visual representation of us being sponsored by Just Milk.
Let me find it. Let me find it.
You know what I mean?
we might have played in the milk cup. I don't know.
I was going to say, was it a milk cup thing? But then again, by 91, it was a Rumbelows Cup, wasn't it? So
we didn't have a sponsor in 91. It was
only Asda for the final, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But then I wonder if they did like an Atletico Madrid thing where they just had a different sponsor every now and again. But that was impressive, actually. I did like that game as much as it pissed me off. That was a good game. And then you get like a really obvious one like the Polish Casino and go, shit, yeah. Oh, there's going to be. Have you sent us a link here?
Yeah. So this is the website I used to find it.
Kind of, but
We had
what the
some
bloody hell
howlers,
is
didn't we,
that?
our sponsors?
That's not, surely not. Nah, bollocks.
No, that's not real. Never seen that before in my life.
Blair, can you send me the link to that? I'm going to pop a tweet out and see if anybody remembers that link. You know what I mean? I'm going to just ping it to the group for me and I'll sort it out. Right, let's move on. Now, Stevie, we're talking about the meltdown on the interwebs about Darren Moore. You touched upon it. Let's elaborate a little bit more. Good game, that, Blair.
Yeah, well done. It's hard. It's difficult. I think we talked about it, and one of the things that we got quite heated about, myself and Blair, a couple of weeks ago, was that Blair was like, if we lose the next game, he's under real pressure. And I thought, why? And that was a thing. I don't know at this stage of the season why. And I think we've got to temper everything with a little bit of sense and sensibility, if you like. If we'd have won on Saturday, we'd have been a point off top of the league. And people will, my issue with it is that people jump on and go, well, you can go back to 2020 or 2021. He came in at this point, don't care about his record. He'd taken us down from the championship. Somebody told me that Pulis was a better manager and would have been better. We'd have stayed. This happened on Saturday. Go on my Twitter. Pulis was better. I've had Tomo would have kept us up. I've had it's his fault that we went down because he put a centre half in Dunkley against Derby. All these reasons are the reasons that we've got relegated. It was in his hand when we went down, and I just think none of that has got anything to do with where we are at the moment. I think my point is he's inherited a squad in the championship that he had to get a tune out of. If you go into a new place of work, if you go into a new job, if you go into a new environment, new context, new setting, it's going to take time for you to understand and know what's best. We took Darren Moore on knowing that we were going down, in my opinion. I think what we sort of accepted that was going to be the case, but it melts my head that we've been in and around the top of the league. We've been in a situation where we could have gone top if points had gone out, if results had gone our way on Saturday. He's up for manager of the month. We've lost 2 games, one of them against Peterborough, and at the minute we've got this massive clamour of people going, get him out. Football's not been good enough. This hasn't been good enough. Who's played better football than us at times in the league this year? In League One, who's playing better football than Sheffield Wednesday when we're at it?
It's a shit football league. It's as simple as that, isn't it?
Thank you,
no
Dan.
one's playing
Thank you, Dan.
football,
That's exactly the point. And we're sitting here and we're going, right, we can't play out from the back. We can play out from the back. We've shown that we can play out from the back. We set up and do that. And people go, well, why have we got Stockdale playing it across to a centre half instead of pinging it long? Well, we pinged it long and people still moaned on Saturday. We can play out from the back. We can get the ball down and play with a Hickway, and we can play with Iorfa, and he'll get it out and he'll run and he'll progress. The problem that we've got is finding that connection between the back 3 or back 4, including Stockdale, going into the midfield and getting to progress through a little bit quicker at times when we're under the cosh and people aren't performing. But people focus on the negatives and don't take those positives on us, as far as I'm concerned. I've got no issue with the way that we're playing football at the moment, because with the players that we've got in the situation that we're in, it's absolutely fine. If we pump it long, people are still going to moan if we don't score 7 goals or 6 goals or 5 goals. If we lose a game playing long ball football, people are going to whinge about it and say it's archaic and we're back in the 90s, and the game's moved on from them and it's evolved. And I just feel at times there's a little bit of an agenda and a scapegoat against Darren Moore, and it then filters out to Jamie Smith's not strong enough. The backroom squad isn't strong enough. The coaches aren't strong enough. And I take that point and I'll have it. And, I understand that. And we talked about the fact that it's not just Darren Moore and it's Darren Moore's team, and you don't win things by being nice and so on and so forth. All the cliches come out in a negative connotation because we've lost 2-0 on Saturday. We win. There's still going to be those people that are going to perpetually moan about the fact that we haven't won that we're playing a certain style of football, or that Darren Moore's the manager and we're looking to jump on absolutely everything. But I just think we need to calm the fuck down, to be honest with you. It ain't
Simon?
that bad.
Other than the 2-0 loss, put that to one side. What I think he's learned this season. So if you go to the Forest Green game, to me, obviously I wasn't on last week, was one of those games that last season we would have drawn 1-1. But we put our chances away. We put the chance. I know they were poor side, but we played poor sides last season and drew with them, and lost to poor sides last season. We put our chances away and we won. Take away the Pizza Cup, because that was just a completely different side. He played his strongest 11. Nobody can criticise him. He hasn't changed any players. He hasn't suddenly dropped somebody and brought somebody in like he did last season. He hasn't changed that squad, right? In between that, we've gone through a transfer window where, to be honest, I think a lot of us were shitting ourselves due to the rumour mill that we were going to lose three of our best players in Byers, Gregory and Windass. We kept all those players. That would be in the manager keeping those players. He's been strong enough to say, no, they're part of my. Imagine if Gregory had gone or Windass had gone and then we'd lost on Saturday. Imagine the onslaught on Twitter that would have happened then if we'd sold somebody. He's kept all the good players. He's brought some brilliant players in my opinion. He's attracted players, the likes of Gregory, Byers, Volks, even though he's misfiring at the moment, these are players that have dropped down a league who could probably function in the Championship quite well. And we've lost one game due to a sending off. And whether you agree with it or disagree with it, we've won. We've lost in the Pizza Cup, right? And then we've lost this game against a side who came to nullify us and took 2 chances against us. So this whole thing of this Twitter meltdown was totally unjustified. If we'd gone through the run like we did last October, when we were 2-0 up against Wimbledon and drew to Wall, where we drew at Shrewsbury, where we were losing at Lincoln and stuff like that, you might be able to understand it. But this far into the season, we're only just dropped into September. We're 4th in the league, and it was just. I like Steve. I mean, I kept my eye on it, but I watched that the guy who was having a go at you, Steve. I mean, that team that went down, we were broken that season. That team was broken. It finished. And how many of those players have gone on to have decent careers since they left Wednesday? I mean, Adam Reach was being touted out on loan, and Wednesday fans were actually saying he'd do a job for us. Fucking hell! Short memories. Look at that side that left. They were broken, and whoever would have come in would have struggled to put that team back together. And I agree with Steve. We've rebuilt, and also behind the scenes, the club's in a better position now as well.
I mean, and let's not forget as well, like, just moving on to the next point, like, is that rubbish? He's been nominated for Manager of the Month alongside Danny Cowley at Portsmouth, Kieran McKenna at Ipswich, and Steve Schumacher at Plymouth Argyle. That's not bad company to be in, is it? Right?
Oh, absolutely. And the other thing as well, we moan about the fact that we can't get the ball forward. And I'll shut up in a minute. Look at the goals that we've scored at Hillsboro this year. Look at our home record. Look at the win percentage. Look at his track record. We can talk about the fact that we're playing abject football in people's opinion. We talked about this a couple of minutes ago. We're in League One. We're playing decent football in League One.
The opponents are abject. The grounds are abject.
Yeah.
The entire League One, League Two setup's fucking abject.
It's poor. You take it up a couple of levels and look at Man United v Brentford, and I'm not going to compare Darren Moore to a Premiership manager. I'm not going to compare Wednesday to Man United. That's not the comparison I'm making, but there are levels to it, aren't they? You take Man United to Brentford and they get smashed and pumped 4-0. You give it 2-3 weeks, and all of a sudden they've beaten Arsenal, they've beaten Liverpool, they've gone on and won 4 games. They're top 4, top 6. Do you know what I mean? So that just by sticking by the principles and going, right, we'll ride out the storm and then we'll look at it again. We talked about it a lot on our pod this season. Darren Moore has to get us up. I want to make that clear. In my opinion, Darren Moore has to get us out of the league this year. He does. If he doesn't do it this year, all right, it's taken us down. We've had last season rebuilding. We've had another year of rebuilding. We can't keep doing it. We can't keep doing it, but we've got to give him the time. And I think given the time and resource, and it's all relative, a year of consolidation and then a year of building the squad that we've built to get us out of the league is absolutely sufficient. It's absolutely bang on.
I'll tell you what's interesting. So, John, when we spoke before on this show about the messiahs coming in Volks and Wilkes, like, they're still on the bench, aren't they? You know what I mean? We're talking about online and we're talking about everybody's opinion. And Stevie brought up before, like, these will be great. These are going to be amazing. These are going to be fantastic. And they're keeping the bench warm. Is that testament to the squad we've got, or are they just not fit enough, or are they not as good as what we thought they were online?
I think it's both in terms of testament to the squad depth, and also I don't think they are quite up to speed with the rest of the players. Wilkes didn't play a lot of football, as I've said before, when he was at Hull. And Volks too was carrying a bit of an injury coming into pre-season, so he's probably lagging a little bit behind as well. So there is some squad depth there, particularly in midfield. We're absolutely stacked, aren't we? Although I know we've just lost a Deneran, which we'll come on to later, but we're absolutely stacked in midfield. So nobody's going to walk into that midfield without a fight. And even Barry Bannon gets subbed a lot earlier now, doesn't it, than he used to do. He used to never get subbed, or it'd be like 89th minute, 88th minute, whatever. He's coming off, albeit obviously if we've got a good lead, but, more ain't afraid to pull sub Barry Bannon off and put someone else in there, because we've got that quality in the midfield there. So I'm not too worried about not seeing the best of Volks yet. I mean, what always? How many games anyway? Very few, about 6, 7, 8. I don't know. I haven't looked at the table, but we're not even a quarter of the way into the season yet.
7 games.
7 games.
More.
Yeah. So, yeah, exactly. It's ridiculous. I mean, yeah, you can have your mindset made up on him, but it's 8 games in. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. 4 points off the top.
And there's another transfer window as well if needed. Give the guy a chance. We can't keep going on manager after the manager after the manager because it's just, we've no right to have manager after manager after manager. Somebody's got to have a decent crack at it. Rebuild the side like we've already spoke about and bring these players in, play in his style, get the players he wants, not inheriting old managers' players and stuff like that. So I think with that squad depth will only stand us in good stead for a long season. And as I said before, that 5 sub rule, that's really going to suit a big squad like Sheffield.
Oh, yeah. We're going to absolutely.
5 sub rule is going to be worth, how many more extra points is that going to get us over the course of a 46 game season?
It'll be worth it like it was the back in the season last year when we had that outstanding run back in February. That's when it's going to come into itself. And that's what's going to happen.
Think, yeah, exactly, Dan. You get to second half of the season and some of these smaller squads, they played a lot of games. They're getting leggy. And you can go and say, right, we've got this midfield now. We can make 3 subs. We can take Barry Bannon off. We can take Volks off. We can put the Dele Bashiru on, and et cetera, and you've got the advantage. You've got bigger squad, fresher players. It's gonna be. I know you say goalkeepers save you about 10 or 12 points a season. Well, that 5 sub rule going to get us the same. That's all you know.
Absolutely. Now, listen, lads, we're just coming towards the end here. We're into the last 10 minutes. Before I crack on with the predictions, does anybody have any other business? Anything they'd like to mention? Anything they'd like to bring up? Are Liverpool still losing, Blair?
3-0.
Yeah.
3-0 now. Wow.
Yeah.
Sweet child.
3-0 at half time, yeah. Yeah.
Well, that's my bet gone to shit, so that's nice, isn't it? So, listen, this Saturday is a difficult trip. A much recent, very poor ground for us to go to away at Plymouth. It's a long way to go. We're going to play the Green Army in the Raider Johnson derby. Blair, how do you think we'll fare?
God, he's got a very difficult month now. Ipswich and Plymouth. Get past these next 3 games with 7 points, and we're coasting. If we go to Plymouth and we lose to Ipswich in the next 3 games, and God, October's going to be like.
Yeah, I'm not going to bother with more predictions.
Nuclear.
Go on.
I'll take. It's got to be. After last season's horrendous trip down there, let's go 1-1. We need a draw at least.
So what are you saying? Score draw, nil draw? What?
We'll go 1-1.
We're going 1-1 for Blair. John?
Yeah, as I echo what Blair says in terms of it being a difficult away match, long way to go for fans and players alike. I don't think we've got a tremendous record down at their ground ever, to be honest, mate. I would take a point. I would take 1-1. Kind of bit of a bounce back. A win would be awesome, but
a draw down there wouldn't be horrific. Would you agree, Simon?
Yeah. I'm going for 2-0 win.
Oh shit! Simon's going straight in. Going straight in for the 2-0. He's sat there with his out.
You've got the team. The team has got to react because again, I know Steve's alluded to some strange decisions towards the end, but that team didn't turn up, and they've got to turn up on Saturday. And no better. I don't fear the teams at the top. Don't fear the teams at the top. We did it. We held our own mainly. I mean,
we're the team at the top.
Exactly.
They should be sat there going shit.
You've got to look out for the Morecambe away on a Tuesday fucking night, which I'm going to with Ethan. Right? It's. Is
that wise? Going to Morecambe?
Pardon?
Just a shitty joke. No, I remember laughing. More said they had double training sessions, didn't they? And my brother was driving me past the Middlewood Road training ground. He says, "Oh, I was coming up to pick me up." And on the way back, he says, "Oh, when I came past here earlier, a football came flying over. So I don't know what they've been doing on training ground. This football came flying over. I bet he got robbed. His car."
I bet he got robbed. So Simon's going for 2-0. So Stevie, we've got draw, win. What are you saying?
I'd be happy with a draw. And I'll tell you why I'd be happy with a draw, because If we lose on Saturday, we are 4 points, 5 points off third, 4 points off third.
Yep.
We're in trouble.
5.
We're not in trouble, but we are. There's a gap opening, and then we've got Morecambe. And you say, "Oh, we're going to win against Morecambe." But if you look at Morecombe's the game on Tuesday night, Ipswich play Bristol Rovers, Portsmouth play Burton. You know, so it's all well and good saying we're going to close gaps and we'll pick points up. That's a concern because Ipswich on Saturday, if we lose and then win and everybody else gets 6 points around us, the pressure, given the Barnsley game.
You're just trying to swerve the meltdown again, aren't you?
Yeah. Imagine the pressure on that Saturday when we step out if we haven't got 4-6 points off Plymouth and
massive. It's absolutely massive.
Ridiculous. And I know that we had this argument the other week about he's under pressure. I don't think he's under pressure. I think we will create a toxic environment where at 3:01, Barry Bannon pings a ball and Marvin Johnson miscontrols it. And, you know, the whole world it'll be like Armageddon. You know, if people lose their head, that'll be that.
If we are going to go 1-2, if we're going to get either top or second, we have to be at least getting draws out of those games.
2 points a game if you want top 2. That's what you got average.
Listen,
playoffs isn't good enough.
We're playing the stats. Playoffs and up is good, and I think we've had this conversation previously, whether that publicly or privately. We want to go up. I know Blair made this random statement that he'd rather go up in the playoffs a couple of weeks ago, which I don't get. But he did say that.
No, it's the best way to go up. That I don't
That's what you said.
It's not.
I'm like, no, I disagree with that. The best way of going up would be to win the league.
Just win.
Have
a month off.
And have a month off and not worry about it. But for me personally, I just think I'd like to think that the fan base will understand that melting down ain't right. Getting rid of Moore in September because we're fourth in the league is a nonsense. Whether you like him or not, he's built a squad that we all want to get behind. These people that are talking about him having, you know, he's not being the right man for the job. How many of these players that you've got in there are you going to say, get rid of? We won't have him. We wouldn't have signed him. We wouldn't have done that. That's because of him. We've retained good players. We've got players that are marketable. We've got players that are sellable. We play better football than people make out than we do. We do. He has got a plan B. It didn't work necessarily on Saturday. I can't put that entirely at his door. But we have to have some sort of reaction. Whatever happens on Saturday, we go in and die out and die with a whimper on Saturday and lose 2-3-0 like we did before. We are in trouble.
So what's your prediction?
That's why I'm looking over here because I don't want to look up your nostrils.
That's a long 1-0.
I can see Gregory scoring. I can see Gregory making up for it. I can see us going in front and then equalising late on.
Okay. So we're saying 1-1 again, are we? I'm actually going to go for a 2-0 loss because I think it's a long way to go, and I think they're going to be more up for it. But you know, that's the cynic in me.
Some people want to watch the world burn.
Would shock us, would it?
Don't they?
Yeah. Some people just want to watch the world burn.
You know what I mean? I bet that sounded great coming in your ears. Right, don't forget, we've got Morecambe on Tuesday. We've got Plymouth this Saturday. Thanks a lot for joining us. My thank you to Si, John, Stevie and Blair. Let's all laugh at Liverpool. See you later.
The Wednesday week is sponsored by Michael Constantine Wealth Management. We bet you can't find a financial advisor closer to Hillsboro Stadium.